It's been about a month since I bought the iPhone 16 Pro Max and I'm loving it, but I'm not sure if I can recommend it to everyone. Let me explain. The iPhone 16 Pro Max has some incredible new features like camera control, photographic styles, the new Fusion camera, and the impressive studio mics. But do you think most people will benefit from these additions? As you all know, Apple Intelligence, which has finally become accessible to everyone, at least in the US, has been the highlight of this year, but it can be accessed from last year's iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, giving people more options when it comes to that specific upgrade, which I think is the one the general public will use the most. We're still missing some AI features like Gmoji and Image Playground, but both are available in the iOS 18.2 beta. They're already doing incredible things at this beta stage, and I'm excited to see how much more refined they'll become once they're ready to release these features to everyone. But anyways, let's talk about my experience with the iPhone 16 Pro Max after a month of use. Camera control was a feature we really didn't ask for or needed, but in practice, I found myself using it more often than I originally thought. However, it's not perfect, and if I could change something, it would be the pressure sensitivity, something more similar to what the MacBook has with the trackpad. All this is because in occasions when I'm using the camera control, I've realized that after pressing it, especially when it's vertically, I get some camera shake and sometimes the photo can get out of focus, or I can either lose the composition that I'm looking to get. And there's some things that you can do. I mean, you can always change the sensitivity in the settings, but this only affects the second menu when it comes to changing options and zoom, changing your depth of field, changing the photographic styles and all of that stuff, but it doesn't really affect the first action, which to me is the most important one. And I think that if they introduce that pressure sensitivity option on the first action like they do with the trackpad, it'll be a lot more useful and more convenient for most people, and I think make it more attractive. As for me, I've been using it often and I enjoy it, but it's one of those things that I need to sometimes put the effort to use it correctly. I don't know why. I still enjoy it though, but it requires some getting used to, and some people will not like it, and this is just the honest truth. Visual intelligence is one of the new features announced with iOS 18.2, and I've been using it for some time now. Overall, it works very well. Imagine it as Apple's version of Google Lens, but it's still in beta stage and it shows. Siri is not updated to the version we're expecting just yet, and when you ask Siri to describe what you're looking at, it defaults to ChatGPT, which is not bad, but it's lacking some important features. Take this as an example. All this is cool and all, but if you put them side by side with Gemini Advanced, you can really see that it's cool, but not at that level. And Apple has a little bit to catch up when it comes to the AI race versus Google. Google with Gemini Advanced is incredibly useful and very impressive, and it still surprises me every single day. You can have full-on conversations and it remembers the context of what you're asking. So if you wanna go back and ask something about the previous conversation you had, it'll remember, which is something that Apple may introduce later on, but right now we don't have it. And you can clearly see the difference between Siri and Gemini at that point, which is unfortunate because I know Apple will have something maybe similar in the future, but I think it's taking a little bit too long to release. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. As for the camera itself, we now have the Fusion camera, which allows us to capture more details and improve shutter speed, which I think is a decent improvement this year. You find this especially useful when taking photos of your kids or pets, since at times it can be difficult to get a perfect photo as they like to move around a lot. This year, my favorite lens is the ultra wide, which finally got the love it deserved by getting better low light performance and 48 megapixels, which helps a lot, especially when trying to get that perfect composition by allowing you to crop your photo without losing details, or at least not as much as before. But if you don't like how the photos look out of the camera, you always have the photographic styles where you can adjust the exposure, the shadows, the contrast, and all this stuff you can later do in Lightroom. But I think it's mostly for those people that prefer to edit on the go in a more simplistic way, which still looks good. But if I'm being honest with you, I still prefer to do majority of my editing in Lightroom. I feel like I have more freedom to work with my raw photos, and I can really edit them and take the style that I want to the level that I want versus what Apple offers with the photographic styles. Even though it's really good, I think it's a really good entry point for a lot of people that are not very familiar with editing. It'll give them some understanding of the basic of how to edit a photo, and maybe after they use it for a while, they might feel the need of getting that extra mile or getting that specific thing they're looking for in Lightroom and add a little bit more personality to their photos, which is the whole idea of this. When it comes to durability, Apple introduced the new generation of the ceramic shield on the display, and I think is more durable. I mean, if you put them side by side with my iPhone 15 Pro Max, at this stage, I had a couple of micro scratches, something that I haven't seen on this one, but I'm not gonna be throwing it out to see how it performs. I think I'll keep it as I know it works well and I'll keep it like that. I'm using Apple Care regardless, so if something happens, I can replace it. But one thing though, when it comes to the iPhone is still slippery, and the finish that it has, even though it looks great, using it without a case, it's a risk that I really don't want to take. And this is where our sponsor of this video, MacBag, comes in. This is the MacBag Elite case, and it's known for their incredible telescoping magnets that allow you to attach your phone to metal surfaces, even if they're not necessarily even. These magnets are 3 times stronger than your typical case, allowing you to add more utility to your phone, which is extremely important for me. The Elite case also provides easy customization where you can add an accent to your case and make it more unique to your taste. The sides of the case are very rugged while keeping the design slim and providing a good grip while handling your phone, especially when it comes to the bigger 16 Pro Max. Additionally, MacBag went the extra mile to add 3 huge utility upgrades to their cases that completely changed my experience using a case in general. First, we have a retractable finger loop that comes extremely handy, allowing you to handle your phone without any effort, making the one-handed use much more viable. We all know that with this phone being a 6.9 inch now is a lot bigger than before, even though it doesn't seem on paper. When you handle it, you can feel it. Secondly, we have the kickstand that allows you to have different viewing angles while watching content, which is a huge plus to have all of these features integrated into your phone without sacrificing how thin the case is. And lastly, the one accessory that I haven't seen other company think about, which is the pinky pillow. But you guys have probably experienced some sort of pinky fatigue, especially with the bigger iPhones, and this surprisingly makes a huge difference. If you guys are interested in trying the Elite case from MacBag, check the link in the description, and thank you MacBag for sponsoring this video. When it comes to the battery, it works really good. I had the iPhone 15 Pro Max before and I didn't have any complaints with the performance of the battery at that time, but with this one, I get close to 2 extra hours, which is a huge deal for me. I mean, now I don't have to charge it at all. It doesn't matter how hard I use my phone. It lasts 100% all my day, which is a great plus. And if you're looking to upgrade your phone due to the battery, this is definitely an option for you this year. I think that you won't go wrong getting this, even if it's just because of that, because it performs well everywhere else. The display, as you guys know, is now a 6.9 inch display with reduced bezels and slightly bigger than the 15 Pro Max from last year. It's fairly noticeable, and when you consume a lot of content on your phone, you will appreciate the smaller bezels. And it's one of my favorite things to look at. Obviously, it's a beautiful screen, and the only complaint that I have with this phone, which is a very odd issue that I've been having, I haven't seen anybody talking about this, and I think it may be due to the beta. It's really difficult to catch in camera because it happens so sporadically, but if I can, I'll try to do it maybe during the build for this video. But since I got the beta on my phone, for some reason this phone has been giving me some flickering issues as I use it normally. Out of nowhere, I see multiple white lines going across my screen, which is definitely a concern. But the good thing is I have Apple Care. You know, worst comes to worst, I can always get it fixed or replaced. It doesn't happen too often. For some reason at the beginning when I bought it, it was happening almost daily, but it has gone down to every other day or so, maybe longer. I see a little flicker on my screen, which honestly I don't know why is happening. I don't know. Have you guys experienced anything like that? Let me know. Okay, final thoughts. This phone is an incredible device. There's nothing really wrong I can say about it. But if you come from the iPhone 15 Pro Max or 15 Pro, it is pretty much an S upgrade. The difference between both are extremely minimal, and all the things that I mentioned in this video, like the studio mics, the photography styles, the efficient camera, it's something that I feel like most people aren't gonna use. And then you have Apple Intelligence that will go down to the 15 Pro anyways, so I don't think this is an upgrade for many people. I think it's a very niche upgrade, and even though it's great and I love it, and I think it's something great that I actually appreciate on my day-to-day use, it's not something that many people will appreciate coming from the 15 Pro or so. But if you can wait a little bit, it's probably the best option. Unless you come from an older iPhone, then it probably makes more sense. But again, I don't think this is the year to upgrade for most people. It's an S year, so upgrade if you don't have the 15. If you had the 15 Pro or Pro Max, it's probably worth waiting for the next year. Okay guys, well, this is my brief review of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I'm trying a new format. I don't know if you guys like this. It's a bit more casual and I feel like it's probably better. But yeah, let me know what you want to see on the next video. I have a lot of content lined up for different things that I want to show you guys, and it's definitely coming sometime soon. But for now, I take any feedback. If you guys want to see something different or something that I add to my videos, I'll appreciate that as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and thank you guys for watching this video. Take care.